Kidney Warriors. James here from Dadvice TV, your online kidney health coach. And this is Dadvice TV Live. Today is a very special monthly event that we do where we get a genuine, official, 100% real renal dietitian here to answer your questions. All right. And we're going to try to get right to the good stuff. So please give a great big warm welcome for renal dietitian Jen Hernandez from plantpoweredkidneys.com. Woohoo!
Hi, James. Hi, everybody. I am once again very, very thrilled, very honored to be chatting with you all tonight about kidney nutrition. If you have not met me before, my name is Jen Hernandez. I am a registered dietitian and I'm board certified in renal nutrition. So my focus as a dietitian has been helping people with chronic kidney disease take care of their kidneys in whatever stage or situation they are in so that they can keep their kidney function and delay or even prevent dialysis. That's not to say I haven't worked with people on dialysis and even through transplant as well. And we have a ton of resources and free guides, free articles, meal plans, recipes, all kinds of information for you to find on our website at plantpoweredkidneys.com. And that is the QR code for the website. And then I also want to mention our wonderful free but private Facebook group because it is such a great community there. And I also do Q&As in the Facebook group. So I definitely welcome you to join us in our Facebook group and to continue to connect with me and other people with kidney disease to learn other ideas, tips, tricks of the trade of what to do to protect your kidneys. I know it's one thing when it's I don't have kidney disease. I'm book smart. I am not street smart in this case. So I think it's a great place to connect with people who can provide other perspectives and then also kind of hear from the other side, the health and nutritional dietitian side for kidney disease. So James, I know you're a big fan of the Facebook group.
Oh yeah. And it's fantastic for recipe ideas. People share not only the recipe, but photos of their food, and it can give you lots and lots of great ideas. Now, before we jump into the questions, Jen has huge news, something that's going to excite everybody out there. She's been mentioning it a little bit in the Facebook group. So if you are a part of the Plant Powered Kidneys Facebook group, which the link is in the description, you know what she's about to tell us about. Tell us about this great news, Jen.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Honestly, it's still mind-boggling to me. My first book, and I say first because who knows what the future holds, but my first book is going to be coming out next month, and it is Plant-Powered Kidney Nutrition, and I have my first physical copy here. It even has the gray bar, which I didn't know. I've never done this before. It has the gray bar. It says, you don't get to sell this. This is my proof. This is my copy to just go through it and make sure everything is how I want it so that I get it out to you next month. And it's going to be November 4th is the date that you'll be able to get it on Amazon. And it is something I've been spending all of this year working on. It's been something every single week. I've had chunks of time that I've just been blocking out to work on writing this book. And it's for people like you, James, for everybody who has chronic kidney disease that is clearly putting in effort and says, I'm not just going to sit on the sidelines. I'm not just going to wait for dialysis. I'm not going to listen to this idea that diet doesn't matter because it's not true. And I have a whole book that's going to show you all of the evidence about why that is not the case and how nutrition can help. And I'll show you. I haven't shown this anywhere. So this is good stuff, but this is like chock full of information. Okay. You see some of the formatting things I'm going to change. I have lab guides. So I have tables here that'll go through and explain different lab results. I have different charts for different types of foods that you can focus on. I even have recipes.
Ooh,
so I have
color photos.
Aren't they pretty? And so this is something honestly, totally transparent that really held me up for a while. I wasn't sure if I wanted to include recipes. Food photography is one, it's very, very expensive and very, very time consuming, but I used food photography in a way that was simple and just showed how easy all these ingredients come together. And what my goal is for when you get this book and you try these recipes, I want to see what you create. I want to see the recipes you make from what I show you here in Plant Powered Kidney Nutrition. So this is just, it's mind blowing to me. Honestly, never in my life did I think that I would be having a book, but here I am. And so my job behind the scenes this week into next week is going to be editing my final book, going through everything, making sure it looks perfect. And, it's something that truly represents what I do and Plant Powered Kidneys, so that it can come out to you next month, November 4th.
Woohoo. And everybody, you can sign up for a mailing list for notifications about it, reminders. It's on the plantpoweredkidneys.com website right across the top. I just double checked it and it's right there. So go to plantpoweredkidneys.com in a new window so you don't lose our conversation tonight. And it's right there on the top. You can sign up. And I can't wait to order it. I will be one of the first ones, Jen. You let me know. You send me an email, say, James, my book's there. And I will be there and I cannot wait. I'm going to add it to my shelf back here.
Yeah. I've already yeah, right. I put it on my shelf to say, this is what it's going to look like, with all the other books I have for my kidney resources. And I've actually reached out and had several people on my email list. I asked for beta readers for people with kidney disease to read the book, give me their feedback. And I've had great feedback so far. So I am really, really excited to get this out to everybody because so far it's been great. But yeah, if you want more information, more sneak peeks and insight, make sure you sign up on the email list because I'm going to be kind of sprinkling that down through these next few weeks as I continue to kind of just wrap this up and make sure I get this book out into the world, which oh my gosh, I could tell you, I'm sure, well, James, you have your books. I mean, looking into just in the initial research of writing this book, and I had to look into, okay, what's already out there, what's being said, who's publishing. It is terrifying to see how many AI generated CKD books are out there. For people and I, for somebody working in technology with a trained eye for this, it's a bit easier for me to identify this. And as a dietitian, I have resources to kind of do some more checks on people. But for a person with kidney disease who's like, just tell me what to do. And it is this AI generated stuff from people who are just cranking the stuff out and they don't know what they're talking about, but they're relying on AI information that's not always true. And it terrifies me. And so I just also, just for yourself, when you're looking into resources, do your due diligence and look into the author. When you see somebody, I saw there were obvious AI pictures of like a random person who had no medical background, no nutrition background, no kidney disease background, who was just like, yep, I made this book about kidney nutrition. And I was like, oh my gosh, but it is part of the internet, part of the wild, wild west. So I just encourage you, when you're looking for resources, please look into the author and do a Google search on the author, see if they truly exist. I did some Google searches, could not find anything for some of these people. And it was just wild and enraging. Honestly, it was enraging because it scares me of what people are getting from this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll see with my book, I have my name and credentials. I have my picture on the back. You have the Plant Powered Kidneys website to go and make sure I'm a real person. We do these live calls. I'm here live.
And the amazing Facebook group full of so much great stuff.
Yeah.
And I also want to mention, for those out there, some people don't like to be public about their kidney disease. Jen's group is private. So your friends and others aren't seeing the questions you're asking. And sometimes, you may have a question that kind of seems a little bit embarrassing. You can talk about those things there. You're with others and you're in a private group. And Jen is very good at, if someone starts causing a problem, they're out of there. So it's a safe place.
Yes, very protective of the group. We don't like spammers. We don't like people pushing, weird products, or even, sometimes they have to filter through links and videos. So I do make sure that, I do my best. It can be tough to manage groups with, everyone has a lot of opinions, and sometimes, when somebody writes something in all caps, somebody can misinterpret it to think, oh, they're screaming, but it's just, no, that's just how they're typing. It's, there's things in there, but I do my best to just make sure everyone feels safe and in a place where, you can kind of come together, be a part of a community, and get your questions answered.
Yep. Now, Karen has a question about your book. Is it paperback? So, what formats will your book be available in?
Dear Karen, it is paperback, yes. So we have paperback, and I'm planning on a Kindle version available as well. But I really wanted the physicality because I know you're gonna go through it and you're gonna mark it and flag it and highlight things, and you're gonna dog ear a lot of the pages. So I wanted to make sure you had something physical to rely on as well. Even though everything I do for Plant Powered Kidneys is online, I wanted a physical book available for a lot of people. So I do hope this reaches more people who don't always have internet or computer access. This is going to be another type of resource. So paperback, yes. Kindle, down the road.
Yeah, and everyone, I always buy the print because I like it because of exactly what you said. I use different color highlighters to indicate different things. Like, ooh, a food idea, especially recipes or combos, or they talk about how to prepare something to make it taste better, or how you cook certain items. I usually highlight those in blue. Blue is diet and eating for me. And then green and yellow, they all mean different things for me. So my books, when you flip through them, they're highlighted all different colors, but it helps me. And I have this weird dog earring thing that I do. I have a certain fold for, somewhat important, a double fold and a triple fold. So I can look at it from the side, and it makes it so easy. Oh, I know it's about in this section. It's really important. It's going to be a triple fold.
Yes, yes. I love anything that you can, any type of system you can create to be like, this is my go-to, and this is where I really know that I can kind of dive right back into it. I can get right back into something that is of the utmost importance to me. And I mean, that's the double sword, the double-edged sword that is kidney disease, is that there's so many different things to focus on. And there is a matter of kind of figuring out like which part do I need to focus on now? Is it protein that I need to really look at? Is it phosphorus that I need to look at? What about sodium or maybe oxalates? One of the readers, I was debating on if I was going to include a chapter on oxalates, and one of the readers said, yeah, you got to do that. So I have a chapter on oxalates, and you just have to figure out and kind of take it kind of one step at a time that way. But when you have something like you said, your different dog ears, like, okay, this is really top priority for me.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and get into some of these questions. And we got quite a few of them in here. Lillian is, whoops, I clicked on the wrong thing here. Lillian is saying sometimes she gets leg cramps. Is taking magnesium good with stage 3 as a way to help address those leg cramps?
So leg cramps can be from a lot of different things, and magnesium might be a consideration when it comes to your muscles, and to how they're kind of reacting. But it can also come from fluids. It can come from a lot of fluids. It can come from not enough fluids. It can also come from potassium. So there's different considerations when you want to look into any type of symptom that you're experiencing. I wouldn't recommend jumping right into like a magnesium supplement. But I would suggest is to do something like a food journal for a couple days. And it's not something that I recommend that anybody does over and over, like every single day. But I think it is a good thing to get into a habit and kind of find something that works for you. That's why when I have a free class that talks about food journaling, it talks about the importance of it and what you can do with a good food journal, even for a couple days. But when you do something like that, you put in your days, put in your like most normal, typical days. And then from there, you'll kind of you'll get a visual of what you're missing out on. And again, that's not necessarily going to say, oh, this is automatically connected, because I'm not eating enough magnesium, or I'm not getting enough potassium, or I'm getting, a very low fluids. we don't know necessarily, can't say for sure that's it, but it's another piece of the puzzle that you can take to your provider. And, you talk with your provider about the symptom you're having and say, here's my food journal and here's the nutrition data that it spit out at me. What can we do with this information? So that's really what I recommend, where I recommend starting at. I don't typically have clients do a magnesium supplement, but I have had clients focus on hitting a dietary magnesium target. Some supplements sometimes, maybe, but really when, most people with kidney disease aren't eating enough, period, there's a lot of opportunity to get more nutrients in via food, especially when we find that certain things don't need to be restricted as much as we thought. So that's my recommendation, is start with food journal, see what's missing, see if there's too much of something, and then kind of, talk with your provider, maybe get some labs checked and see what else you can change dietarily before you jump into a supplement. I do have a client who's on a nutrition prescription of dark chocolate as her magnesium source. So she's enjoying her chocolate every evening to make sure she's getting a nice boost of magnesium.
And speaking of chocolate, Steve here says, hello, James, it's Halloween time, but I'm craving for some chocolate. Is there any way I can help indulge in this milk chocolate binge? Thanks. Also ask about chocolate malts. And last year, I think it is, we did a whole thing about treats and candies for Halloween. So it's something to go check back on also.
Yes. I mean, James, you and I have covered so many topics. So chances are any of the specific questions people ask, they can even look back at the history of our chats and get more answers to what we're covering as well. But I mean, really, yes, chocolate. Like I said, I have a client who's eating chocolate every day. It's the old problem that we used to see with chocolate was, chocolate is high in phosphorus. And therefore, if you have kidney disease, you can't have chocolate because it's high in phosphorus. But now the guidelines, recommendations, what practitioners should be doing is looking at the labs first. And then, of course, a diet recall, looking at diet history to see, how much is chocolate actually impacting your labs? Like, is your phosphorus even out of range to begin with? If it's not, then what you're doing is okay right now. Your kidneys are taking care of it. So if your labs are good, then you're on a good track. Maybe it's even an opportunity to have a little bit more. And that's something that I also work with people on is, if your levels are good and your labs are good, like we said, you look at that food journal and are you missing some that you could have a little bit more and it's still going to be within a recommended range? So back to the chocolate, the white chocolate, milk chocolate, dark chocolate, those are going to have different phosphorus levels based off of the amount of cacao with them. So milk chocolate is going to be a little bit lower as far as I remember. But I do have a whole blog about potassium in chocolate and I cover the phosphorus in chocolate. So also check out the blog for more of the actual details, because right now I'm pulling things off the top of my mind. And there has the references and the research behind it too. But I can definitely tell you this time of year, and this was a conversation I was having on Facebook just before about how, if we are thinking so much about what we can't have and we keep this mindset, I can't have chocolate, you're just going to be thinking about chocolate, especially for the next, I want to say more than 3 months, because after Christmas, then you get Valentine's. So, this is months on end. If you keep telling yourself you can't have chocolate, you are in a world of pain for the next half year. So my recommendation is enjoy it, have a little piece of it. It's not going to make or break anything. It really, really isn't. So if you enjoy a little chocolate here and there, like truly enjoy it. Make sure it's something that is really, is really good. It's not something that you're feeling you have to eat just because it's there, or it's like, well, someone has it in their office candy bowl, so I might as well. Like, no, but just, if you really enjoy it, then enjoy it. And you're not going to feel the regret of like, I'm just eating all this stuff I shouldn't. Like, no, if you're not going to focus on chocolate so much, then a piece here or there isn't going to make a difference.
All right. Marjorie asks, is it okay to have turmeric tea? The data is confusing. And boy, that's kind of what you touched on with about looking at books. The data is all over the place. And the best place to get good information is a dietitian, and a renal dietitian is even the best.
We spend a lot of time, and I spend a lot of time, it's my full-time job, to just focus on kidney nutrition, focus on the research, focus on what's going on with CKD. So it is nice to have a specialty and to be able to spend my time focused on that. Now with the turmeric tea, teas in general, any type of tea. I'm sorry I sighed in the beginning of that. It's like, oh, here we go. But really, the any kind of herbal tea, anything that has like a proprietary blend or includes special herbs, and I say like special is like if it's not black tea or green tea, even like chai tea, which is a type of black tea, like just a regular, like your boring teas, those are great. The ones that start getting into like, let's, add some more stuff into it. If you see like a laundry list of ingredients, like the bigger the list, it's like, okay, what do we got going on here? And turmeric, it has anti-inflammatory properties, which can be great, but it can have an impact with like blood thinning, which a lot of people with CKD are on blood thinning medications, and it can have an impact with potassium or phosphorus. So, and with the tea, I don't know how much of an impact it would have in that, because again, the other consideration with tea is like how long you steep it is how strong it is. So my question usually goes back to, so for Marjorie, and for other people that are asking questions, when you say, is this okay? Or can I have this? My question is usually going to be, what do you want it to do for you? Like, what's the end result that you're looking for? Is it something that like you said, the data is confusing. What kind of data are we looking at? What kind of results are you trying to get from in adding this? Because maybe the turmeric tea isn't the answer, but maybe there's something else that is proven and safe and effective that can support the goal that you're aiming for. So that's something I just want to say, like, kind of always when you want to think about like these certain things that are okay, like what's this for? What's this about? What's the purpose? Because then I can give, maybe let's try this or let's try this instead. Things that are safer and proven effective. And turmeric is also, I think it's listed on the National Kidney Foundation's like herbs and remedies to be cautious with, because there's limited data on the safety and effectiveness of a lot of herbal treatments.
All right. Speaking of something else you drink often instead of tea, coffee. Arthur asks, can CKD patients drink coffee, and are there any restrictions he needs to really be aware of?
Oh my gosh, I would be the worst person in the world if I said no. No, yes, coffee is absolutely okay. So a few considerations. Number one, coffee is a fluid. So if you have kidney disease and you are on a fluid restriction, and I'm really talking to my people here that are on dialysis, because that is usually the most common situation for a fluid restriction with kidney disease. If you are on dialysis and you have a fluid restriction because the machine is only taking out so much fluid, then you need to count the coffee as part of your daily fluid goals. And not only that, I won't get too tangential here, but anything, if you put it out in the sidewalk in Arizona in, June, then if it melts, that's considered a fluid. If it melts inside your body, if you digest it and it would melt down into a liquid, that counts towards your fluid goal. So coffee is going to count towards that. If you have a fluid restriction, you want to be really careful not to overdo it, including the coffee, because too much fluid is the reason the fluid restrictions there in the first place is to prevent the fluid buildup. So that's number one. The other consideration is it's really what you put in the coffee. And it doesn't mean that you can't have lattes or, you can't have creamers or anything like that. But if you're adding a lot of sugar, or if you're adding a lot of cream with a lot of saturated fat, then it might not be the greatest for your heart health because of that extra sugar and that extra saturated fat. But there are so many creamers out there now. I just actually tried one. I shared it on my stories a couple weeks ago, I think, that it uses pea protein and some vegetable oil base, which is totally good, totally safe, good, healthy fats. So it was a good swap for me to use. Instead of half and half, I'm getting something that has healthier fats in it, and it doesn't have any sweetener. So You want to look at what you're putting in your coffee. Look at anything, if it has phosphates in the ingredient list, which especially powdered coffee creamers, they tend to have more added phosphates. Those ones you want to be cautious with, especially if you have high phosphorus levels, or if you have phosphorus that's kind of trending up and kind of creeping up there, and your doctor's saying, yeah, just watch out for phosphorus. It's that added phosphorus that's really the biggest concern. And that's not just with kidney health, but that's with your bone health and your heart health. So phosphorus is a really, really big player when it comes to long-term healthcare for people with kidney disease. And let's see, I guess the other thing I would consider, I do have a blog article all about coffee too. So,
Yep.
you name it, I probably have an article for it. But the other consideration when it comes to coffee is it does do a little temporary boost in blood pressure. So I wouldn't suggest drinking some coffee and then running out to go see your doctor, because if you're adding that coffee and then white coat hypertension, if that's playing in the mix too, then you might just get kind of like a false blood pressure reading at your doctor's office. But another way you can do, what I have a lot of clients do is they track their blood pressures at home away from their coffee time to get some good accurate readings. And then they take those logs to their doctor's office and they say, okay, but this is my normal. This is what my blood pressure normally looks like on a regular day, not when I'm so anxious about seeing you and about hearing about my lab results and about worrying about where my kidney function stands. So, that's another thing that you can do too, to just help offset that little bump if you're drinking coffee before your doctor's appointment.
All right, a couple more questions I want to try to get in here. Someone asked about, can you eat mushroom chickpea burgers? I have not tried. I still have not successfully, Jen, cooked a mushroom and had it. It's been years and years ago since we talked about that. And they're asking also, will it affect their potassium or phosphorus?
Well, James, no judgment on your no mushrooms. We don't have to have every fruit and or
I've
vegetable on
tried
it.
one. I just cooked it bad, and I haven't gone back.
That's what, and we try things, and I just can't get on board with beets. That's what I tell people. Like, it's just you can't sell them to me. Now I love the idea of a mushroom chickpea burger. Right? That's what it was, a burger.
Yep.
Um, I think there's a lot of great bean-based burgers out there. And this is another one of those, like, we got to step away from this old diet trend. If you have handouts, if you have people telling you that beans, chickpeas, if these are going to impact your phosphorus levels, for one, that's way outdated. Like, these guidelines were changed in 2020. It's 5 years ago. They are using very old information. So we got to bring them up to speed. Give them my information. I will be happy to share that with them. But it's really not going to have much of an effect on your phosphorus. We know now that the phosphorus that's naturally found in plants is just not well absorbed by our bodies. We don't have the enzymes to break it down, and therefore it cannot be absorbed. So the plant intake related to phosphorus is like 30 to 50%. It's very, very low. So even if you did look up like the phosphorus in chickpeas, it's not really going to represent what you're actually getting in your body. Now, the potassium, on the other hand, mushrooms can be a little bit higher in potassium. Chickpeas, actually, I just posted this recently, canned chickpeas are actually pretty low in potassium because of the canning process that pulls out potassium. So if you drain and rinse canned chickpeas, it's a lower potassium option. Mushrooms can be, moderate to high in potassium, depending on how you have them. And, like other vegetables, when you cook them down, they shrink a lot. So you might end up having more. And as far as if it impacts your potassium, there is more and more research out here now to say also that the food that has potassium in it, our dietary potassium intake, doesn't really match with our blood potassium levels. There's some impact, but it's not like, you eat this much and this is the blood potassium number that's going to spit out. There's a lot of factors involved. So, and I also look at the potassium kind of like I do with phosphorus. And a lot of the research also says, we need to be looking more at the potassium additives that are put into our food, more so than the potassium that comes just naturally from food, to see if there's a difference in the bioavailability, how much is being broken down and absorbed. So if I had somebody come to me and say, if I had a client say, hey, I want to eat a mushroom chickpea burger, all I'm going to say is, can you please share the recipe? Because I'm really curious. I would love to try it. I don't suspect it's going to have any significant impact on potassium or phosphorus. There's a lot of other things to consider. Maybe if that was like you went on a mushroom chickpea burger diet for the next month and that's all you ate, then yeah, maybe it would have an impact. But I really suspect that that's not the plan. So it sounds like a really good idea.
And I love chickpeas. I eat hummus quite often, even make it here myself. It's so cheap to make yourself if you have a really good blender. Now,
Mm-hmm.
lovely lady and a couple others have asked, have you heard of Albutrix? It's an amino acid. And does it help? Can you talk a little bit as your last answer about
Yeah.
amino acids?
Yeah, so the Albutrix is an example of a bigger medical food called a keto analog or a keto acid analog. And this is basically a part of protein broken down so that you take these capsules and they are used in tandem with a low protein or a very low protein diet. And the capsules are basically giving you the protein without the nitrogen, which is the part that we are concerned about for people with kidney disease, that the nitrogen builds up. So basically, medical science has found a way to, kind of break down these proteins and say, here's the part that is going to be important for you, and we're just going to get rid of the other stuff. So you don't have to worry about that. I haven't had people on Albutrix specifically. I don't typically recommend, and this might come as a shock, honestly, I don't typically recommend keto analogs for most people. And that's because when somebody comes to me, when we're working one-on-one, or even for students in Kidney Wellness Academy, I'm finding that it really comes down to just shifting the protein choices and doing more plant proteins over animal proteins and just eating a more normal, balanced diet with a more normal amount of protein. Because the risk of doing keto analogs, and to do this, you have to cut down to a very small amount of protein per day. There's a high risk of malnutrition. There's a high risk of nutritional problems popping up. And this can include ongoing kidney progression, kidney disease progression. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's a very nuanced type of plan, and it can help. And guidelines do say in some situations, they don't say across the board. It's not recommended for everybody with, stage 4 or stage 5. It's in some situations, it can be helpful. But what's really, really important with this, and I do wish that it was, that it was kind of like a bigger warning in marketing keto analogs, that it's really, really crucial to work with a dietitian to help oversee this with you and to make sure that it's an expensive product, and the worst thing in the world is to spend so much money and effort cutting out so many foods and taking pills over food and not getting the results you want. Like that is brutal. That is heartbreaking. So I really do encourage, if you're considering doing something like a keto analog, make sure you have a dietitian on board. Talk with your nephrologist, talk with your primary care doctor, get a dietitian to work with you one-on-one to help with the dosing, to help with your other food options, making sure you're getting enough calories. I can't emphasize how important that is. I've seen a lot of people who jump right into this thinking it's going to be like the cure for it. And it can be a good tool, but it really needs strong medical nutritional support.
Awesome. And I accidentally said amino acid when I should have said keto analog. My brain
I
twisted it, but you
know.
knew exactly what I was
I
talking
know.
about.
Yes.
All right, that takes us to the end of our time for this month. And Jen is here every month, the first Tuesday of the month. And next month is November. And that's when your book will be available. There we go, the Plant-Powered Kidney Nutrition book. I'm going to get a copy of it. I encourage all of you to get a copy of it. Remember, you can go to plantpoweredkidneys.com, the website right there. And across the bottom, there's a little thing you can sign up, get little leaks and hints and other insight about the book before it comes out. And thanks, Jen, for all your time, all your help. It is always a pleasure having you on here, and I always learn something new. And I encourage everyone out there, make sure, go to her website, go to the Facebook group, join it. It's fantastic. She also does a lot of live Q&As throughout the month. How often do you do those on your Facebook group?
We have a weekly thread. So every week I post out, hey, here's your time to ask me questions. And then I'm just in there sending in my feedback, sending in my resources. And, it's lovely also getting not just Q&As, but when people share success stories, like Kathy was talking about hers just before. And so, you also get a lot of positivity. You see that there's some incredible results from people that are taking care of their kidneys, taking care of it and paying attention to nutrition. So it's great. And I'm so excited for my book. I still can't believe it's happening. Absolutely wild. But definitely sign up on the emails if you want to know, because I might be leaking a chapter before it comes out, and maybe a recipe or two. So, there's some things kind of down the pipeline that you might want to be a part of if you're interested in what this book has to say.
And I'm so glad you did include recipes. You can never, ever have too many of them, especially from someone who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, and mine are very customizable. I give tips and ideas like, oh, if you don't like this, you can swap for this. If you don't like this, you can do this. I have recipes that build on each other. So there's a lot of fun ideas within the book too. And they're at the end because I'm like, hey, you got to read, you got to learn about what's going on with your kidneys, and then the recipes will make more sense.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Jen. Thank you, everybody. I will be back. I'm not sure when the next scheduled show is. There is definitely Dr. Rowe later this month, and I have someone new who's going to share their own personal experience. Hey, quick question for you, Jen. Have you yet tried or seen the new Renadyl gummy multivitamins?
No, I haven't. But you know what? I'm going to a dietitian conference. I actually leave in a couple days, and I'm going to be meeting with them. So I will get to hear all about it. And you better believe I will be asking them all kinds of questions.
You have to try these. First of all, they are so soft and so easy for gummy. So anyone who doesn't like crushing up a pill or just has trouble swallowing a pill. Now, Renal makes a very tiny pill without the omega acid. It is teeny tiny. You just put it in your tongue and it's practically gone. But for anyone looking for a gummy, they taste good. They practically dissolve instantly. Don't get stuck in your teeth, which is a nice alternative. So check them out when you're there.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for giving me the heads up. I'm going to know what to ask.
Yep. All right, everybody. See you all in the next video. Bye, everyone.